Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Mr. Eric Reads. I know, I'm not Delaney and Barrett, I apologize. But I'm back, Mr. Eric, to read you guys a story by Kelly DiPucchio, and it's entitled Oona, or Oona. Let's go with Oona. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy this Monday evening tale right here on Mr. Eric Reads. Oona was sweet and a little bit salty, like the ocean where she lived. She was also brave and courageous and curious, like most treasure hunters. When Oona was just a baby, no bigger than a scallop, she chased a pearl into the mouth of a whale. Lucky for her, she popped right back out. As the years passed, Oona found bigger treasure, and she found even bigger trouble. It's a good thing that she has Otto. Oona rescued Otto from an oyster net when he was just a pup. She taught him tricks like sit, roll over, and walrus, and her favorite, pufferfish. Oona and Otto searched for treasure nearly every day. They uncovered keys and coins and buttons and bottles. Sometimes they even found lost gold. And sometimes lost glasses. But there was one special treasure Oona could never quite reach: the crown. It was extra sparkly in the way that made Oona's heart thump, but the crown was stuck deep in a rift, and not a pole or a pail or a sticky stick of a snail could get it unstuck. Still, Oona was determined. Her next plan was a good one. She knocked the crown loose. Unfortunately, the current shifted. The lobster crate and the rock drifted, and the squid, well, you can see for yourself. It's hard to say who was more surprised when the water cleared, Oona or the shark. Her third plan most definitely would have worked if the crabs hadn't been so crabby and the waves hadn't been so wavy. And if that long ship plank hadn't bumped her head hard before the greedy rift gobbled it up too. Poor Oona. This was getting personal. She shouted into the pit, "You can keep your dumb crown, 'cause I quit!" Generally speaking, mermaids are not quitters, but at this point, one could hardly blame her. Instead of looking for treasure with Otto, Oona napped on the rocks with the sea lions. She drew pictures in the sand with the starfish, and she read from her favorite glass bottles with her land friends. All of this would have been perfectly fine, except Oona wasn't perfectly fine. Clearly, she was missing her spark. And a mermaid without her spark is a lot like a seagull without an appetite. It's just unnatural. A seashell washed ashore, and Oona studied it thoughtfully. It gave her an idea. She got right to work. The next day, Oona peered nervously into the rift. Why did it look so much deeper and scarier than she remembered? Otto pretended to be a narwhal, and making Oona laugh. Admittedly, the new treasure hunting goggles she'd invented were pretty funny looking, but they were her best shot at reaching the crown. She dove into the bottom of the murky rift. That's when Oona noticed something she couldn't see from above. A bridge. A bridge made from a crate, a rock, and the very same plank that had plunked her on the head. And it led straight to the crown. But what was that rumbling sound? It grew louder and louder. The ocean floor shook and water around Oona churned into a thick stew of swirling sand and sea creatures she couldn't see. She felt trapped. Would the hungry rift gobble her up too? Through the commotion, Oona could hear something else in the distance. It was faint but comforting and familiar. The whales. Oona sang along until the rumbling stopped and the water cleared. Finally, this was her chance. Oona held her breath. Ready. Steady. Aim! Clink! Hooray! We did it! Oona cheered, placing the crown on her best friend. It really is beautiful. But these, Oona said excitedly, holding up her new goggles, these are spectacular. Otto agreed. Because sometimes the best treasure in the world isn't found. It's made. The end. That was Kelly DiPucchio's Oona, right here on the Monday edition of Mr. Eric Reads. I hope you enjoyed that story. Obviously, I hope you enjoy every story, and I know you enjoy it more when it's Delaney and Barrett reading, so I'm sure they'll be back at some point. But I hope you'll be back tomorrow, because obviously we'll have another book for you. As in the meantime, guys, please stay safe and healthy. Please wash your hands, practice kindness in everything that you do, and pick up a book every day and read. Until tomorrow, Mr. Eric, signing off.